The Karen Reed trial starts on Tuesday. The first task is to pick a jury. Reporter John Ellement has covered high-profile cases, including the Marathon bombing and the Aaron Hernandez trials. He joins us with perspective on the challenge ahead. John, is it even possible to pick an unbiased jury in a land of social media where news is everywhere?
They don't want an unbiased juror.
Oh.
The phrase is that the judge uses during the selection process, I find the juror indifferent. I find this person indifferent. So they're looking for someone that is willing to listen to what happened, to the evidence presented to them during the trial, and not what they might have read before. They're looking for people who will be honest and say, I have heard about this case. I have heard about the facts of this case. I have heard about the allegations in this case, but I'm willing and I'm ready to wait until the evidence is done, and then I'll make a decision based on what you've told me in the court, what the witnesses have said.
So then, John, the idea of wanting an unbiased juror is actually false. They want an indifferent juror, someone who can hear the evidence and make a decision regardless of any, focusing only on the evidence.
Right.
But how hard is that to seat 12 people who can be indifferent?
It's a challenge, and it won't happen quickly. It can take a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks before. And actually, in this case, in most other murder cases in state court, they're actually going to look for 16 jurors overall. Be 12 to be the deliberating jurors and 4 alternates, because the trial goes on sometimes and people have challenges in their own life that takes them out of the courtroom. And after the evidence is done, then the judge will cut down the total number of jurors down to 12 for the deliberations. So there is a winnowing process, and it's a multi-stage process. There's the veneer, where 100 or so potential jurors are given a broad description of the case, the names of the defendants, the witness list, and they then are interviewed individually by the judge, who decides whether or not they can go on to the next level, or whether then they're questioned by the lawyers. And at that point, the lawyers have the opportunity for peremptory challenges, 16 aside, I think in this case, where they can knock someone out for just because they don't think they'll be a good for their case. And then they also have these dismissals for cause, where they think that this person is too biased on one side or the other. They've been overly influenced by social media, or they have a brother who's a police officer, and then they won't be into the final grouping.
These dismissals by the lawyer, whether it's for cause or whether they, find them to be not sympathetic to the way they would want them to rule, what's the strategy? I mean, in the Karen Reed case, what will the defense and what will the prosecution be looking for in potential jurors?
Well, I've been talking to some lawyers and experts on it, and when you talk to these lawyers and experts, they all have their own sort of magic formula, if you will, and whether it works or not, one never knows until the verdict comes. But some experts I was talking to say because she's a woman, the defendant, that you want to have women on the jury because they might be more empathetic towards her. And then others say, well, you want to have the men on because they want to protect women. And then they all say, well, that's all stereotype, and it may not work that way at all.
John, in a high-profile case like this Karen Reed trial, sometimes the defense will ask for a change of venue. Why?
The defense in the Karen Reed case is not asked to take the case out of Norfolk County, and possibly because they believe that through the media coverage and the way this case has been covered, that it's better to have them in picking from Norfolk County jurors.
Do you find that to be unique in this case?
It's unusual.
Reporter John Ellement, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
For daily access to Boston Globe Today, all segments and episodes are available on demand in the Boston Globe app by clicking Watch.